I'm going to give you one chance here. Surrender.
Doom does not surrender.
Remember when the joke of the MCU was their villains? Not only did I never think that was legitimate, but look who's laughing now.
It's a fake laugh.
It's real!
Who's laughing now? After Thanos, the MCU has quite a reputation to live up to when it comes to multi-phase villains who pose a threat to the entire universe. And they have not just one, but possibly two of them up their sleeve for the Multiverse Saga.
Tell me his name again.
We already know about the coming of Kang, with his first appearance in Loki, his confirmed appearance in Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, and getting his own subtitle for the next Avengers film.
Wild.
However, signs point to possibly a bigger threat on the way. Victor Von Doom is possibly the most notorious villain of all time, and if Fantastic Four and Secret Wars are any indication, Dr. Doom is coming as well. He is perhaps the only one who can rival Kang as a villain, so let's take a look at all the ways the Latverian leader outdoes the Master of Time right now. Truthfully, Dr. Doom and Kang the Conqueror are very evenly matched. There are very few things that differentiate them in terms of power. And while Dr. Doom has definitely earned his spot as top dog, there are definitely some versions of Kang that could beat some versions of Dr. Doom.
Show me.
However, Victor Von Doom has reached levels of power that no version of Kang could ever hope to achieve. In fact, if the films plan on following the comics pretty closely, Dr. Doom may even achieve this power in an upcoming Avengers film. Undeniably, the most powerful beings in the universe are the Beyonders. They have the ability to shape reality and use the creatures of the multiverse as their literal playthings, because their power is so great that they exist beyond the multiverse. Oh, I just understood the name. Not many people are able to wield this power, but during the Secret Wars event, Doom got his hands on it. When the Beyonders destroy the rest of the multiverse in an incursion, Dr. Doom used their power to build an entire new world, populate it with heroes and villains of Marvel lore, and turn himself into their literal god as Emperor Doom. At this point in time, Dr. Doom was untouchable, and even full attacks from the Infinity Gauntlet had no effect on him. It took a ragtag group of rebels to figure out what Doom had done, but even then he didn't really lose. This is a level of power that Kang has just never achieved.
In my time, I rule all.
And even though he's definitely an intimidating force, much like his Latverian counterpart, the power of the Beyonders is one he cannot say he has wielded. So in this case, being a multi-dimensional time-traveling villain with futuristic weaponry and complete control over the timeline just isn't quite enough.
No. No.
There are a few true tests of character and power that exist in the Marvel Comics, as well as the MCU. A great way to show how powerful someone is without having them say much is to give them the ability to lift the hammer of Thor, Mjolnir. This enchanted weapon allows only the worthy to wield it, but on rare occasions it can simply be overcome with a certain level of power. Take Hela for example, as she probably didn't pass the worthiness test given that the same guy who put the spell on the weapon was the one who banished her, but she was still able to hold the hammer in her hand and subsequently crush it. The hammer may have accidentally fallen into Doom's possession, as on its fall to Earth it accidentally provided him with an escape route from a place he probably shouldn't have left. A whole other reason that Dr. Doom is worse than Kang is that he was rightfully sent to the Marvel version of Hell. Quite literally, after possessing the souls of 3 of the 4 members of the Fantastic Four, he forced Reed Richards to kill his friend, and was subsequently sent to the depths of the underworld. Honestly, that right there alone might make him worse than Kang. But regardless, the mighty Asgardian weapon briefly fell through time and space on its journey back to Earth and wound up for the briefest of moments in Hell, alongside Dr. Doom. Victor then used the power of this weapon to wield it, and use it to get himself back to Earth. He became so obsessed with finding that power again, once he returned to Earth, that he used all of Latveria's forces to track the hammer down, where he unfortunately learned that it was his momentary power that allowed him to wield it, and not his worthiness. Still, that's something Kang hasn't been able to do.
This is not over.
Dr. Doom has developed some amazing abilities. If he can't have any of his own, he will learn how to take someone else's. This was an amazing feat he achieved that puts him yet another step above Kang the Conqueror, who has been able to take away people's power, but not use it for himself. When Dr. Doom did this, he definitely went big game hunting. Imagine he used it to be able to proficiently shoot a bow and arrow. No, he went for one of the most powerful beings in the universe, the Scarlet Witch. Dr. Doom was able to successfully take away her chaos magic abilities and use them for himself. He has been able to wipe her memory and convince her to marry him before being stopped by the Avengers. But he took her power once again to actually undo a misdeed of his and bring Cassie Lang back to life. Doom's ability to steal powers means he could technically be ready for anything that Kang, or anyone, could throw at him. Kang brings his technological advancements to the table for sure, but there's little anyone can do if Dr. Doom steals their power. Not only that, but he was able to steal from one of the most powerful beings to exist, making him in that same class of threat. Many would argue that 3 of the top 10 smartest characters in Marvel Comics are Reed Richards, Doctor Doom, and Nathaniel Richards, aka Kang the Conqueror. However, the difference between the 2 latter villains is that one of them has nothing but time to gain their intelligence. Sure, Nathaniel Richards was likely born intelligent, especially being a descendant of either Reed or Victor, but one has to think that being from the future gives him access to advanced technology and educational systems. Kang has every advantage in the book, and on top of that, he's mastered time, meaning he can take as long as he wants to gain knowledge because he has eventually learned to control the flow of the time stream.
You should be concerned about the trouble you're in.
As impressive as that is, and it definitely gives Kang an advantage when it comes to building intelligence, but given that he and Victor Von Doom are basically on the same level, that should impress a lot of people. Victor doesn't have the technology of the future. He's self-made and had to learn on his own. Even in films, he's been able to quickly master the cosmic power of the Silver Surfer's board. He picks up things very quickly, and has been able to think his way out of situations that variants of Kang would perish in. Doctor Doom has created time-traveling technology. He's learned new skills and invented new weapons without the luxury of unlimited time. In many ways, some of the technology Doom has invented equals that of which Kang has invented in the future. To me, this clearly shows that if you strip both villains of all their technology and make them start from scratch with the same resources, Victor Von Doom wins just about every time.
This is all his fault.
Kang has obviously traveled throughout different timelines and even conquered many of them. He is a symbol of fear that you hope does not come to your universe. But that's nothing compared to causing the decay of the multiverse itself. Dr. Doom took on the alias Rabum Alal, and then started a religious cult with the members unknowingly worshipping Doom himself. Doom began a multiversal quest gathering different molecule men from different universes, attempting to harness their powers and challenge the Beyonders, who were planning on destroying the entire multiverse. Doctor Strange confronted Doom, who revealed himself to be Rabum Alal. His quest with the various molecule men who possessed fractions of the Beyonders' power was actively causing the multiverse to collapse, even though his motives were actually somewhat altruistic. The amount of power Doom had collected allowed him and Doctor Strange to confront and defeat the Beyonders, but his efforts took out an untold number of universes, leaving only about a dozen left. Kang the Conqueror has never achieved this level of power, though on individual universe levels he is one of the greatest threats there is. He does not have quite the same conviction as Doctor Doom that allowed him to accomplish this quest in the Time Runs Out storyline. Overall, if a normal man can come up with a way to challenge and defeat the Beyonders, causing the decay of the multiverse in the process, there's not many people who can top that. Kang the Conqueror may be an extremely imposing villain, whose very statue strikes fear into the hearts of everyone who witnessed it at the end of Loki Season 1.
He's terrifying. He planned everything. He's seen everything. He knows everything.
However, he lacks something that Doctor Doom has all but mastered.
Not what you were expecting,
That is the power of charisma. You see, Kang may have several different variants who all have different personalities, but Doom is so charismatic that he basically has all those different personalities living within one head. Doom is the leader of his own country, and not any old dictator, but in many ways he is beloved. He's a powerful and successful businessman and continually gets people to follow him, whereas Kang does a lot more forceful conquering. Dr. Doom is so good that he convinced people he had turned to the good side, perhaps even himself. Kang may have good variants like Iron Lad, but the Conqueror is so unchanging that everyone would suspect a trick if he turned back from the bad side. Dr. Doom was able to convince one of the greatest heroes of all time that he wanted to turn over a new leaf. He became a valuable and trusted ally of Tony Stark, helping him fight demons and taking his side in the Second Civil War. When Tony fell into a coma after the shock of losing his best friend Rhodey, Doom saw it as a sign and picked up his mantle, becoming the infamous Iron Man. He had the whole world, again himself included, convinced that he was a hero now, and had them basically forget about the atrocities he had committed in the past. The individual variants of Kang are each so set in their ways thanks to their extremely long existence that no one would believe they could go from bad to good or vice versa.
Though I do enjoy the irony that you, a man out of time,
Eventually, Doom returned to his villainous schemes after his run as Iron Man, and somehow still convinced people to follow him. He's clearly a bad guy, but his ability to gain a following not by force is a deadly power Kang simply doesn't possess. The fact that the multiple personalities of all his variants exist within the one body of Doctor Doom is impressive and terrifying. Heck, even in the live-action sequel to Fantastic Four, Victor comes back and still gets the government to trust him after just trying to take over the world in the previous film. Now that's power.
I've always wanted power. Now I have an unlimited.
Kang the Conqueror has an impressive assortment of weapons, from his highly advanced suit to his ultra-diode ray, which has the ability to drain someone of their superpowers, used by Rama Tut on the Fantastic Four. Needless to say, the weapons from thousands of years in the future are highly advanced and help Kang achieve his conquering. Dr. Doom has certainly invented some gems himself, but that's nothing compared to his innate ability to acquire weapons far more powerful than the ones Kang brings to the table.
You really hope to defeat me by throwing rocks at me?
Just to list a few, Doom has been able to acquire the Silver Surfer's board, the fully completed Infinity Gauntlet, Mjolnir, and of course powers beyond the purview of reality. However, no weapon that Doom has ever possessed could possibly be more powerful than the Ultimate Nullifier. This is the Golden Goose, the MacGuffin of weapons. The Nullifier is said to be the most dangerous weapon in the universe, and is the only one that strikes fear into Galactus himself. Depending on the strength of the mind of the user, the Ultimate Nullifier can instantly get rid of any opponent. If the mind is weaker, it could result in the destruction of the user itself. Galactus has said that this weapon from his homeworld could wipe out entire timelines. Both Kang and Victor likely have the strength of mind to effectively wield this devastating weapon, but it was Dr. Doom who gained possession of it. Kang the Conqueror may have friends in the sense that all villains know each other. He probably goes to the club meetings, but he rarely has any actual allies. This is why more often than not he has to rely on variants of himself to team up with, and I think even he would tell you that it rarely goes to plan.
The student got the better of the master.
Different versions of himself have engaged in all-out war for control of the multiverse. As tricky as Kang is, all of his variants tend not to fall for it, whereas Dr. Doom has shown time and time again that he's capable of putting together powerful teams and making powerful allies. He's been the leader of teams such as Doom's Avengers, the Black Swans, and the Thor Corps, as well as members of teams such as the Astonishing Avengers, the Cabal, and the Knights of the Atomic Round Table. He's been an ally to Magneto, Namor, Iron Man, and the Guardians of the Galaxy. He uses these powerful relationships to advance his own goals. Truthfully, what I'm saying is Dr. Doom would easily win Survivor. But what's the best that Kang has? The Council of Kangs? That ended real well.
What are you talking about?
When even teaming up with yourself leads to backstabs and betrayals, it kinda shows you that you aren't really adept at working well with others. When it's a game of heroes and villains, the more allies you can create, the better. And when it comes to that, Dr. Doom has Kang beaten in a landslide. Kang the Conqueror is entirely technologically based. His tech just so happens to come from the distant future, where some of it probably seems like magic to us simpletons here in the 21st century. However, at the end of the day, Kang's greatest weapons are still just his advanced technology. Doom has that, as just discussed, but with an extra trick up his sleeve. And by that, I do literally mean trick. Dr. Doom possesses a great level of sorcery, as he was introduced and somewhat trained in the mystic arts by his mother. He then even went on to hone his skills and learned a trick out of Kang's book. He traveled through time to be taught further in the mystic arts by none other than Morgan Le Fay. She specializes in a certain dark art that became Dr. Doom's bread and butter. People don't always think of Dr. Doom as a magic villain, since it's his mind that is most impressive above all other things. But truthfully, even when Doctor Strange stepped down as Sorcerer Supreme, he was among the candidates who were considered to replace him.
Feels weird, but I'll allow it.
Eventually he lost his powers, but for a time, Victor Von Doom was able to cast spells, teleport, travel through dimensions, open up portals, heal himself, and yes, even time travel, as well as low levels of telekinesis and power nullification. Kang, as good as his technology is simply just that. Dr. Doom takes it a step further in mastering the mystic arts. Given that he can match wits with the futuristic time traveler, his ability and gifts in the magical realm definitely put him a step above the Master of Time, especially when it allows him to do one of the things Kang is known for. What better way to see who's better than to have them face off?
I will ready your military and prepare for the coming war.
Well, first of all, it's worth noting that one of Kang's variants is the Dr. Doom of that universe. But in the main one, Doom and Kang teamed up once, leading to betrayal and conflict with one person coming out on top. That person was none other than the Latverian leader Victor Von Doom. That's right, Doom has already beaten Kang the Conqueror, solidifying why he is a much worse threat. Space terrorists framed Dr. Doom for creating a black hole that killed thousands. Because of this, Doom was incarcerated, but he would have some help in escaping this time. After Kang freed Doom from prison, the two formed an evil alliance, but once Dr. Doom got his hands on a powerful weapon, Kang betrayed him. Without even using the weapon, Doom was able to retaliate and defeat Kang the Conqueror, leaving him behind as nothing more than a used plaything, and returned to Latveria without him. It seems as though their MCU appearances may be lining up, which could lead to this showdown playing out before our very eyes.
I hope you enjoy the rest of your days on this dead Earth.
It's our new favorite rivalry, and both characters have long storied histories to help determine which one is worse. Who would you rather see coming for your universe? Kang the Conqueror or Victor Von Doom?